Okay, so this table summarizes results from 987 pedestrian deaths that were caused by automobile accidents. So again, these are cases in which there was an automobile accident and a pedestrian, somebody not in a car, somebody on foot, died. So this table summarizes how it happened. It's basically a study on how did intoxication play into it. So let's make sure we understand the table. These 55 people, in those 55 cases, I should say, the driver was intoxicated and so was the pedestrian. Everybody was drunk, basically. The driver and the person on foot, they're both drunk, so no surprise that a pedestrian was run over and killed. And then in these 243 cases, the driver was not drunk, but the pedestrian was. So probably the pedestrian was just wandering around drunk, went in front of a car, and died. Now, in these 81 cases, the driver was intoxicated, but the pedestrian was not. So that's probably the driver's fault. The driver probably ran over a pedestrian because he was drunk or she was drunk. And then finally, these 608 cases, what's up with them? Nobody was intoxicated. Neither the driver nor the pedestrian. Nobody was intoxicated, and nevertheless, an accident happened and the pedestrian died. Okay, so if one of the pedestrian deaths is randomly selected, find the probability the pedestrian was intoxicated or the driver was intoxicated. It's an interesting question. So the pedestrian intoxicated or driver intoxicated. So probability, pedestrian or driver intoxicated. Okay, so how do we do it? Well, it's going to end up becoming a fraction. And we do pedestrian or driver intoxicated over total. All right, so the total, it's right here. That's the easy part, huh? Here's the total. This is the total number of cases we're talking about. So that goes right there. So there's the 987. That's the total. If you added up all these cases, you get 987 total cases. They're just giving it to us to make it easier for us. Okay, but now on the top, we got to figure out the number of pedestrian or driver intoxicated cases. In how many of the cases was either the pedestrian or the driver intoxicated? Well, let's go group by group and just kind of take it slowly. So how about these 55? In those 55 cases, was either the pedestrian or the driver intoxicated? Well, yeah, for sure, because look, the driver was intoxicated and so was the pedestrian. It's a yes on both. So was one or the other intoxicated? Yeah, for sure, both were. Okay, so we'll put that in there, 55. That's part of our group, plus. Now, what about these 243 cases here? In those 243 cases, was somebody intoxicated, either the pedestrian or the driver? Well, yeah, because the pedestrian was. The driver was not. The driver was not intoxicated in those 243 cases, but the pedestrian was certainly intoxicated. The pedestrian was. So yeah, because or means either one, right? Doesn't have to be both. So check. Okay. So I got to put that in here. 243. Okay, next, how about the 81? Was either the pedestrian, was somebody drunk, either the pedestrian or the driver in that case? Yes, because the driver, in those 81 cases, the driver was, the pedestrian was not. So again, in those 81 cases, the driver was intoxicated, but the pedestrian was not intoxicated. But yeah, so, and that we're going to count them, right? Because it's either or. Either the pedestrian or the driver. It doesn't have to be both. When you say or, you mean either one. So yeah, we'll include those 81 also. Like that. Finally, these 608. What about them? No, nobody was drunk there, right? The driver was not intoxicated. The pedestrian was not intoxicated. Nobody was intoxicated. So we don't count them. Right? We're only counting situations in which either the pedestrian or the driver was intoxicated. In those 608, nobody was intoxicated. So now we just add them up. we get 987. I'm going to add those numbers on the top. Getting 379. All those add up to 379, and then just divide those on your calculator. I'm getting 0.38399. And they want a percentage. Whoops. Try that again. They want a percentage, so that, you know what that means. Move the decimal twice. Bonk, bonk. 38.399%. And so it's round to one place. So 38.4% chance. So in other words, among all these cases in which a pedestrian died in an automobile accident, in 38.4% of the cases, somebody was drunk, either the pedestrian or the driver. Somebody. So alcohol was involved, where, you know, somebody was actually intoxicated in 38.4% of the cases. So if you grab one of these cases at random, the chance you're going to get one where somebody was drunk, either the driver or the pedestrian, is going to be a 38.4% chance. There we go.